Chapter 4467. Chapter 4467. Goal: Wind Holy Realm, the strongest, not to mention the general realm of the 10,000 realms, even the places outside the realm, and even all the realms of the 10,000 realms, are the top strong. Even the strongest are divided into 3, 6, or 9. However, the number of the strongest is still very small in the number of lives in the outside world and in the 10,000 worlds. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is rare. While the strongest are powerful, their vision is not generally high. Now, a young man of several thousand years old was shocked by the existence of King Cold and Withered Wood, who were not weak among the strongest, showing how much surprise the other party gave them. "It seems that you and I have done it right." Withered Wood looked at King Han and said sighfully. When King Han heard the words, his eyes flashed, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "Now, I am even more curious how far he will grow in the future. Also in the face of achieving invincible high-ranking gods and achieving the strongest, which one will he choose?" As soon as King Han said this, Withered Wood was stunned at first, and then said with bright eyes, "Speaking of choice, a peerless Avildor like him, do you think you would choose mediocre to become the strongest? If he becomes the strongest after achieving the invincible high-ranking deity, I am afraid that once he breaks through, he will be the top existence in the realm of the deity. Of course, the premise is that he understands the law of space to the realm of Dzogchen before breaking through to the strongest." At this moment, Duan Lingtian did not know that after he left, King Han and Withered Wood, the two strongest men, discussed him for a while. The current Duan Lingtian was in Hu Feiyan's divine weapon spacecraft, heading to the three holy realms with Hu Feiyan and Tan Shoteng. Pingxiong realm borders the three holy realms. To be precise, it borders the Wind Holy Realm among the three holy realms. The three sacred realms of the outside world are Wind Holy Realm, Fire Holy Realm and Thunder Holy Realm. It is said that a long time ago, the names of the three holy realms were not the same. They were called Fongjing, Fire, and Thunder. It was not until later that the name of the three holy realms came out and they had their current names. You must have heard of the realm of power, but you know that the realm of the world is only a description of the realm of the cultivation of the strongest of the 10,000 realms, and there is no such thing as a realm in places outside the realm. Now Duan Lingtian was chatting with Hu Feiyan, and Hu Feiyan talked about the strong man in the realm of respect. Duan Lingtian nodded, then raised his brows. "In a place outside the realm, is there another way to call it a strong Jiezun?" He knew very well that Hu Feiyan would not mention this for no reason. "Right." Hu Feiyan nodded. "In 10,000 realms, the strongest person in that realm is called the boundary sovereign realm powerful, while in places outside the realm, it is not called the realm sovereign realm strong person, but Asaj. Saint." As Hu Feiyan's voice fell, Duan Lingtian took a breath. These two words are not affordable for everyone. He believes that it is not only in his opinion, but also in the eyes of people outside the world. And since people from outside the realm regard those who are strong in the realm as saints, they can indeed afford this title even if they want to come. The saint is angry and destroys the sky and the earth. It's not just plain words. Perhaps, the outside world can't be returned, but if the saint is angry, he can destroy a world at his fingertips. Duan Lingtian didn't doubt what Hu Feiyan said. Not to mention the realm strong, even the general strongest, if no one hinders it, it can destroy a realm, but it will take longer than the realm strong. The saints on the outside of the world are in the three holy realms. Hu Feiyan continued, "The three holy realms, and each holy realm has more than one saint power. These forces are also the top powers of the three holy realms." Speaking of this, Hu Feiyan's gaze at Duan Lingtian also became a little deeper. In his opinion, behind the youth in front of him, there may be saints, and the power of the saints, whether it is a family or a sect, is the power of saints. Saint. That is the existence that even her most admired foster father would look up to. According to her adoptive father, if the saint makes a move, her adoptive father will not be able to stop even a half move. Duan Lingtian didn't have a deep understanding of the three holy realms. However, now as Hu Feiyan talked about it, he also had a better understanding of the three holy realms. "Deputy Army Master Hu, haven't you been to the three holy realms? Why do you know so much about the three holy realms?" Duan Lingtian asked doubtfully. When Hu Feiyan heard the words, a soft color flashed in his eyes. Before I went out this time, my foster father sorted out the information on the 3 holy realms, deposited it in a jade slip, and gave me these things I'm talking about now. It was all learned through the jade slips given by the foster father. Hearing Hu Feiyan's words, Duan Lingtian suddenly realized. It turned out to be the handwriting of Hu Bugue, the leader of the Yangtian army, but this is normal. Suddenly, Hu Feiyan's pupils shrank slightly, and his complexion also changed. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian immediately shook his head and smiled faintly. Is someone blocking the way? It was okay when he first entered the Pingxiong realm. Hu Feiyan's magical spacecraft still has a certain deterrent. Therefore, many of the road-blocking bandits around the Pingxiong territory know that the Yangtian army is not easy to provoke. However, after leaving the Pingxiong border area, Hu Feiyan's magical spacecraft lost its deterrent power. Since leaving the icy and snowy world, Duan Lingtian and his party have encountered no less than 10 road looting. Among the fierce bandits who took action in these dozen or so plunders, the weakest were ordinary high-ranking gods, powerful high-ranking gods, and even close to Tan Ziyuteng's strength. You know, although Tan Ziyuteng's strength is not as good as Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan, it is not weak. The last time he met the leader of the road-blocking bandit, Tan Xiuteng used dozens of tricks to get the opponent down. Of course, Tan Xiuteng faced not only a gangster leader, but also a group of gangsters brought by the gang leader. Before killing the gangster leader, he also recovered and killed many gangsters. Until the leader of the bandits died, other bandits became meat on Tan Ziyuteng's chopping board and let him slaughter them. My lord deputy, let me go. At the same time, Tan Xiuteng, who heard the movement here, also stood up, his eyes full of fighting spirit. He knows that there are not many opportunities for his performance. This gangster in Pirao, he can still deal with. Once you enter the 3 holy realms, some of the bandit leaders who appear in them are definitely not weaker than him, and there may even be close to invincible high-ranking god. Of course, the existence of high-ranking gods close to the invincible is also divided into 3, 6, or 9 grades. Such existences who are generally willing to act as bandits are basically close to the bottom of the existence of the invincible high-ranking gods, because the powerful ones among them do not even bother to act as bandits. As for the geniuses among them, they are usually busy practicing to improve their strength, impact, and become the strongest, or become the invincible high-ranking gods. How can there be time to linger outside? The gangsters wandered outside, and often did not encounter a prey for 10.5 months. Close to the existence of the invincible high-ranking gods, there are not many things that can make them tempted. End of this chapter. Chapter 4468. When Tan Xiuteng Yakong left the Divine Weapon spacecraft, his eyes were full of fighting spirit. For him, this battle with the fierce bandits is a kind of training for him. He hasn't had such a passionate feeling for a long time, although, in the past, he has also been to the 3 holy realms. However, that cost a lot of money and found the strongest asylum. Between the 3 sacred realms and Pingxiong realm, there are special divine weapon spaceships sheltered by the strong, and these spaceships often belong to some powerful casual repairs or forces, and the strong take shelter. Of course, the benefits he gave alone, even if his family went bankrupt, would not necessarily allow a strong person to protect him. Generally, an artifact spaceship sheltered by a strong man travels back and forth between the Heavenly Sand Realm and the 3 Holy Realms. There are definitely no less than 30 people on the artifact spacecraft. Even, in most cases, there are hundreds of people. Last time, there were more than 40 people in the divine weapon spaceship he was on, seeking asylum like him. Sitting in that kind of spaceship, he doesn't need to do anything at all. All the thugs who block the way are repelled by the powerful who sit on the magical spaceship, and even killed. It was the first time that he himself took action to deal with the bandits who went back and forth between the 3 holy realms and the peaceful majestic realm. There is no need to worry at all. No matter how strong the bandit is, you will be done. If it is really not an opponent, there will be young master and deputy army master who, because there are Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan behind him, 2 powerhouses close to the invincible high-ranking gods, Tan Xiuteng has no worries at all. Only 4 people. After Tan Xiuteng left the spaceship, He looked at the person blocking the road, only to find that there were only 4 people. 2 young people, a young woman, and the 3 walked side by side, and behind them stood a middle-aged man who was obviously a little bit servile. The middle-aged man looked a little sloppy, but the robes on his body made Tan Ziyuteng's pupils shrink slightly. It was just because the robe on the other party was a uniform, with the word Yuan embroidered on the chest, and he had only seen this kind of uniform not long ago. It was the clothes worn by the dozen or so bandits he killed last time. At that time, the leader of the bandit was also very strong, not weaker than the bandit met last time, and the other side yelled desperately just before he was killed by him. "Kill me, you will regret it." At that time, he didn't take it seriously and killed the opponent directly. He has been in the sky and sand for many years, and he has seen too many people who don't want to make people live before death, and the threat that those people say before death is only a joke in the end. It's scary. This time, is it real? Tan Ziyuteng's pupils shrank slightly, and at the same time, he thought that the last time he encountered the group of gangsters and killed them all, at the same time he diffused out of the sense of exploration, he was indeed aware of the movement in the depths of the jungle. However, the movement was very keen, and he ran off the ground directly, leaving his mind to see through. At that time, he thought it was a great demon who was good at the laws of the Earth system, and was frightened by his spiritual sense. But now it seems that it should be the one who survived the bandit organization. Maybe it was the sloppy middle-aged man in front of me. My lord, he killed the leader. While Tan Shoting was distracted, the slightly sloppy middle-aged man stared at him with hatred in his eyes. His strength is better than the leader. Although he is not much stronger, he is with his speed faster than the leader. Our Yuan organization was defeated one by one, and the leader was also killed by him. Meta organization. Tan Shoting suddenly realized that the group of thugs he killed last time was from this Yuan organization. However, after that war, it was obvious that the Yuan organization was almost wiped out. Now, listening to what the sloppy middle-aged said, our Met organization, it is not difficult to hear that the helper the other party finds is foreign aid, not that Met organization. And as the sloppy middle-aged voice fell, the young man in the white robe studded with gold trim among the 3 young people took another step forward, staring at Tan Shoting as if condescendingly. Immediately, he said in a cold tone, "It was you who killed my junior brother, Zhong Yuan?" Zhong Yuan. Tan Shoting didn't know him. However, combined with what the sloppy middle-aged said just now, it is not difficult for him to guess that the Zhong Yuan in the mouth of the youth in front of him should be the leader of that Yuan organization, the youth who was killed by him in the last time he encountered the road looting. It seems somewhat uncomfortable. That time, I also tried my best to kill them. The person in front of me, under this circumstance, I dare to come, which shows that I have no fear. Plus, he said he was Zhong Yuan's senior, and his posture was obviously to give the other party an opportunity. His strength is not below me, even stronger. Thinking of this, Tan Shoting already knew it, and at the same time he sighed helplessly. He thought it was another group of bandits who practiced with him, but he didn't expect that he could not solve the problem. Without any hesitation, Tan Shoting directly informed his young master, Duan Lingtian. At the same time, inside the Divine Weapon spacecraft, he was still chatting with Hu Feiyan. Duan Lingtian, who was not paying attention to the outside situation, raised his brows slightly, and then smiled at Hu Feiyan and said, "Tan Shoting said that he can't handle the person blocking the road this time. Isn't there a fight yet? I don't think I can deal with it before I fight." Hu Feiyan, who had not paid attention to the outside before, heard Duan Lingtian's words. She couldn't help but frown slightly. "Let's go out and have a look." Duan Lingtian stood up as he said, "Maybe, it just happens to be able to move." Hu Feiyan also stood up, and then left the Divine Weapon spaceship suspended in mid-air with Duan Lingtian, and even after leaving the Divine Weapon spacecraft, he directly put the Divine Weapon spaceship away. After Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan came out one after another, they also went out from the sky, and they came to Tan Ziyuteng's side, looking calmly at the person in front of them. Ha ha! At the same time, the opposite of Duan Lingtian's trio, the green-robed youth next to the white-robed youth, saw the Duan Lingtian who had just appeared, couldn't help but laugh. "Zhongyu, it seems that the other party still has a helper. If you deal with it just speak up. Since Miss Linghu and I are here with you, we will definitely not look at you at a loss." Miss Linghu in the mouth of the green-robed youth was obviously the young woman beside him. Although the appearance of the young woman was unremarkable, her temperament was a bit cold. Standing there, she looked close, but she gave a sense of distance as if she was 1,000 miles away. Zhongyu. Before the white-robed young man could speak, Hu Feiyan beside Duan Lingtian had his eyes suddenly lit up, and then stared at the white-robed young man in front of him, and asked in a slightly eager tone, "Are you, Zhongyu, the young patriarch of the Zhong clan in Tailing, Pingxiong?" At the same time as the voice fell, Hu Feiyan's eyes were already raging. On the side, Duan Lingtian couldn't help being startled when he heard Hu Feiyan's words and saw Hu Feiyan's current posture. At the next moment, he just came back to his senses, and said in his heart, "It seems that Hu Feiyan has heard of the other party. Currently, the premise is that the other party is the person in her mouth, Hu Feiyan. This is clearly a joy to see the hunt, and I can't wait to fight the opponent right away." Sure enough, he is the deputy commander of Yangtian army. End of this chapter. Chapter 4469. Yangtian army, from top to bottom, is notoriously militant in Liangu territory. And now Hu Feiyan is obviously happy to see the hunt. The young patriarch of the Zhong clan of Tailing? Duan Lingshan's gaze fell on the white-robed youth at this time, allowing Hu Feiyan to see the joy of hunting. The strength of the opponent must also be close to the invincible high-ranking god. Otherwise, Hu Feiyan could not be like this. Of course, the premise is that the other party is the Zhongyu in Hu Feiyan's mouth. There are two other people. At the same time, Duan Lingshan's gaze fell on the other two people beside Zhongyu, the green-robed youth, and the young woman who looked ordinary but had a very special temperament. If this person is really the Zhongyu that deputy army commander who knows, he is close to the existence of an invincible high-ranking deity. The two people, even if they walk with him on an equal basis, they have no strength. Weaker than him. At this moment, Duan Lingtian thought a lot, and at the same time became vigilant. Perhaps this time, not only Hu Feiyan is going to make a move, but even he is going to make a move. At the same time, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but think of the Tailing Zhong clan behind Zhongyu, who can cultivate such an enchanting young patriarch. Maybe that clan is not an ordinary clan? Among them, there is a high probability that the strongest will be in charge. High probability is a strong force. The Tailing Zhong clan? As Hu Feiyan's voice fell, Tan Xiuteng, who was already standing behind Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan, had a sudden change in expression. He is the young patriarch of the Zhong clan of Tailing? The leader of the bandit I killed last time was his junior? At this moment, Tan Xiuteng only felt that his scalp was numb, and his face became extremely ugly. Damn, how could it be so unlucky? This time, it's a hornet's nest. He used to go to Pingxiong realm. Although more of them were just passing by, he had also heard of the strongest forces in Pingxiong realm. Especially some of the strongest forces. The Tailing Zhong clan, in the territory of Pingxiong, although not the top strongest force, they can definitely enter the second echelon. The strongest member of the Zhong clan of Tailing is an existence that can be as famous as the dead wood. Of course, in terms of strength, it may be slightly inferior to the dead tree, but among the strongest in the Pingxiong realm, it is also an absolute strong. If I remember correctly, the patriarch of the Zhong clan of this generation is the direct descendant of the head of the three strongest members of the Zhong clan who has the same reputation as Lord Withered Wood. That is to say, if this person is the young patriarch of the Zhong clan, he is also a direct descendant of that person. And I killed his junior. Thinking of this again, Tan Xiuteng's heart trembled, and at the same time he hurriedly transmitted to Duan Lingtian, "Master, if this is really the young patriarch of the Zhong family, please save my life. After all, the reason why I killed his junior was to clear the way for you and Deputy Army Master Hu." Now Tan Xiuteng is really scared. In the outside world, the strong are not terrible, the terrible thing is to provoke the strong. And Duan Lingtian, at this time, heard Tan Xiuteng's fear from his heart, and couldn't help but curiously asked, "That Zhong clan is very strong?" Just as Duan Lingtian and Tan Xiuteng's master and servant were communicating, the white-clothed youth named Zhongyu glanced at Hu Feiyan arrogantly. "Yes, I am the young patriarch of the Zhong clan. How dare you kill my junior? Today, the three of you will all be dead here." After Zhongyu talked about it, His tone was indifferent, as if in a word, the life and death of Hu Feiyan, Duan Lingtian and Tan Shoting could be at most. If you want to kill me, you have to see if Zhongyu has that ability. Hu Feiyan stepped out of the sky, the law of body space merged with divine power shocks, and the powerful force caused the surrounding space to tremble and then burst. In Hu Feiyan's hands, her supreme divine weapon, the compass-shaped weapon, was also taken out by her, exuding bursts of even more terrifying power, as if it could control the whirl. The power of the law of the small perfect realm, the world's visions that appeared, also began to sweep through the air, shaking in all directions. And Zhongyu, at this time, also saw that Hu Feiyan was not simple. His face couldn't help but became serious. Seeing the scene in front of him, and then thinking about the fighting spirit rising in the opponent's eyes after knowing his identity, he is not difficult to guess that the opponent is not afraid of him, and the strength is not under him. It's just that, now that he sees the laws and artifacts displayed by the other party, he can't help but wonder, in Pyeongseong, when did such a mission come out? In the territory of Pingxiong, he has basically heard of any existence that is close to the invincible high-ranking gods, even if he does not know them, but there is no one in front of them. At the same time, the green-robed young man standing not far from Zhongyu's side also showed doubts at first, but as the woman next to him transmitted a voice to his ears, he suddenly realized it, and his eyes brightened. The next moment, he looked at Zhongyu and smiled. Zhongyu, this person's strength is not weaker than you. Maybe you really want to ask us for help today. You know him? Zhongyu was still wondering about the identity of the other party, and when he heard the words of the person next to him suddenly, he couldn't help but frown for a while and asked bluntly, "If I guessed correctly." The gaze of the green-robed youth fell on Hu Feiyan from a distance. This one should be the righteous daughter of the leader of the Liangu realm Yang Tian army, Hu Feiyan deputy leader, right? Yang Tianjun, militant woman, deputy commander Hu Feiyan. When the green-robe youth's words fell into Zhongyu's ears, his face suddenly became ugly. No wonder he didn't recognize him from the gesture in front of him. It turned out that the other party was not the existence of the invincible high-ranking deity in their Pingxiong territory. He has an understanding of the appearance and characteristics of the existence of the invincible high-ranking gods in Pingxiong, as well as the weapons and the laws that they are good at. Only for some well-known strong people outside Pingxiong, he only knows the name of the opponent, and does not know the appearance and characteristics of the opponent. The weapon that is good at, and the law of good at. He has naturally heard of Hu Feiyan, a militarist female of Yang Tian army. Just because the opponent's foster father, the leader of the Nayan Heavenly Army, was the head of the three ancestors of the Zhong clan who was not weaker than them, and the direct ancestor behind him. Moreover, they heard from their ancestors that Hu Bugue came from the three holy realms and was involved with a saint power in the three holy realms. It is rumored that he also came from that saint power. No one dared to look down upon the strong who came out of the power of the saints. It turned out to be Deputy Army Chief Hu. Zhongyu took a deep breath, the chill on his face abated, and he arched his hand to Hu Feiyan, Deputy Army Chief Hu. As you already know, it comes from the Zhong clan of Tailing, and is the young patriarch of the Zhong clan. And these two people next to me, in green clothes, are named Lingjing, from the Bingdi Lung clan, and are the nephews of the patriarch of the Lung clan. As for the other one, he is the jewel in the palm of the contemporary patriarch of the Linghu family of Tianmen, Linghu. Before Zhongyu finished the introduction, he was interrupted by Hu Feiyan in amazement. You are the Linghu Yundi who is known to be invincible under the strongest in Pingxiong territory? But at this moment, when he heard Zhongyu's introduction to the two people around him, even if he saw Zhongyu's obviously more polite Tan Shoting, he still didn't feel any joy. Only a face of despair was left. The Bingdi Lung clan is the strongest force in Pingxiong and the Taidi Zhong clan. And the Tianmen Linghu clan. That is one of the strongest forces in the Pingxiong realm. The Linghu clan is the strongest in the present age. He is the same as the father of the dead wood, Yuanhe, and is also a half-step world sovereign. He was filled with despair. He knew that the change in Zhongyu's attitude did not mean that the matter was resolved in this way. Even if the other party wouldn't treat Hu Feiyan, he would definitely not let him kill his junior and disciple with his own hands. But Hu Feiyan could not keep him. Master. At this moment, Tan Shoting can only regard his young master as his last straw. Linghu Yundi, since he was recognized as the first person under the invincible upper deity of the Pingxiong realm, she naturally had her means and strength, which she didn't doubt at all. Even if she had never fought against Linghu Yundi, she didn't think she could be Linghu Yundi's opponent. The same being close to the invincible high-ranking gods, the strength is also divided into 3, 6, or 9. It is not completely impossible to kill the strongest kind of existence that is close to the invincible high-ranking god, and the weakest kind of existence that is close to the invincible high-ranking god. As for defeat, it is not surprising. Perhaps, my father is still angry with my elder. Linghu Yundi sighed, speaking of which, this is also the knot of my elder's heart. I only hope that in the future, Deputy Army Master Hu, you can say a few more words for my elder and say that he really regrets it. NS. At this moment, Linghu Yundi's posture was obviously a little low, which made Hu Feiyan a little confused. Can her adoptive father make the people of the Tianmen family do this? Moreover, Linghu Yundi said that she was still her elder. Then, the opponent is also a strong one. I will tell. Although he didn't know what was going on, Hu Feiyan nodded his head in the face of Linghu Yundi's low posture, and agreed. Thanks. Linghu Yundi opened his mouth to thank him, with a sincere tone. After the voice fell, he looked at Zhongyu and said in a light tone, Zhongyu, I am here today, so you won't make you embarrass Deputy Army Chief Hu and the others. Didn't your brother have been expelled from the teacher by your master a long time ago? Let me say, your brother is willing to degenerate. As a former son of the strongest, he is going to be the leader of the gangster. Being a gangster is to pin your head to your waist, and sooner or later you will encounter hard stubble, and you deserve it if you die. As soon as Linghu Yundi said this, Zhongyu's face suddenly became a little ugly. Although Linghu Yundi came with him this time, the other party came with him completely because of boredom. At first, he thought he could take advantage of this trip to get close to each other and build a relationship with the Linghu family. But now, it seems that a bit of stealing rice is not a good thing. Taking a deep breath, Zhongyu's expression eased a lot. Miss Linghu, since you have spoken, then I will naturally not embarrass Deputy Army Master Hu. But, speaking of this, Zhongyu's gaze crossed Hu Feiyan again and fell on Tan Shoting. I can't let this person who killed my junior and brother personally kill me today. When Linghu Yundi heard the words, he looked at Hu Feiyan for the first time and waited for Hu Feiyan to express his opinion. If Hu Feiyan wanted to protect the other party, she wouldn't stand by. Thinking of her elder's self-willing fall over the years, she felt uncomfortable. If she did this, it would really ease the relationship between the elder and the Yangtian army leader Hu Bugui. In her opinion, everything is worth it. That elder took care of her too much in the past, making her feel that she is not worthy of retribution. Today, she finally found a chance to repay each other. You know, she used to go to Guilan City in Liangu realm in person, wanting to see the Yangtian army leader. However, after the other party knew that she was a member of the Linghu family, they didn't see her at all. Let her only return lonely. This time, being able to get on the line with the unrequited righteous daughter might be able to open the knot for her elder. Duan Lingtian, who had never spoken, also glanced sideways at Hu Feiyan at this moment. Although he had learned a lot about Hu Feiyan from the time spent together, he was not sure what choice Hu Feiyan would make in the face of pressure from the Taidi Zhong clan in the Pingxiong realm. After all, Tan Shoting and her are not relatives. At this time, Tan Shoting was pale, looking at Hu Feiyan with hope, his eyes full of humble begging. What do you think? At this time, Hu Feiyan's eyes fell on Duan Lingtian's body and asked bluntly. At the same time as she asked, she also transmitted to Duan Lingtian, if we don't hand over the person, even now with Linghu Yundi's help, we can send him away. But we will suffer from Taidi Zhong on the next journey. The revenge of the clan. This Zhong Yu, as the young master of the Zhong clan, his father is not only the contemporary patriarch of the Zhong clan, but also the strongest member of the Zhong clan and his direct ancestor. It is said that the ancestor of the Zhong clan also loved Zhong Yu. Zhong Yu, he can achieve today's achievements, of course, because of his superior talent, but more because of the elder of the Zhong clan. Zhu. Having said that, she paused, and if we hand over the people, we will be free from these troubles. Or even a crisis. Chapter 4471. Now, what Hu Feiyan meant was obvious. If you don't give up Tan Shoting, the next road to one of the three holy realms, the Wind Holy Realm, will not be calm, or will be chased by strong men sent by the Zhong clan of Taidi. If you give up Tan Shoting, the next road, although it cannot be said that the road is smooth, will not be targeted by the Taidi Zhong clan. Master. Tan Shoting was already nervous at first, but now seeing Hu Feiyan look at his young master and ask his own young master's opinion, he suddenly became anxious and hurriedly said, "You." However, Tan Shoting has not finished speaking yet. Duan Lingtian has looked at Hu Feiyan with a firm gaze, and said, "Tan Shoting is my person, and this way is also clearing the obstacles for us. I can't hand him out. If he weren't there, wouldn't you and I kill the leader of the gangster?" As soon as Duan Lingtian said this, Tan Ziyuteng's face suddenly became happy, and at the same time, he repeatedly thanked him, "Thank you, master, thank you, master." At this moment, he was really grateful. Although he killed the bandit leader in order to clear the obstacles between the two in front of him, judging from the current situation, handing him over would undoubtedly save a lot of trouble. He is not a stupid person. He naturally knows that if his young master and this deputy who are to protect themselves, even if the young master of the Zhong clan, Zhong Yu, will temporarily retreat because of the existence of Ling Hu Yundi. However, once Ling Hu Yundi left, they would surely face revenge from Zhong Yu and the Zhong family along the way. If he stood in the position of two people, he felt that he would also choose to abandon himself with a high probability. But I didn't expect that this young master who didn't really have any real feelings in his own family would definitely protect himself as soon as he opened his mouth. How could he not be moved or grateful? At the same time, the complexion of Zhong Yu of the Zhong clan suddenly sank, and at the same time, his gaze at Duan Lingtian became a little more jealous. Those who can walk with a character like Hu Feiyan and ask for their opinions are absolutely impossible. Now, he also saw it. The person who killed his junior was the person next to him. After all, that person called this man young master. As for Hu Feiyan, after receiving Duan Lingtian's reply, although his expression didn't change much, his eyes flashed with appreciation. If the person in front of her gave up Tan Shoting, although she could understand, she would still look down on him from the bottom of her heart. The opponent is determined to protect Tan Shoting, which shows his character. If this time the other party gave up Tan Shoting, after waiting for one of the three holy realms, Fengsheng realm, she would definitely find an excuse to part ways with him. After all, the other party can abandon Tan Shoting today, and in the future when they encounter a common crisis, they can also abandon her Hu Feiyan. Although she has a lot of self-protection methods from her foster father, those methods cannot be used endlessly. If the companions around you are unreliable, it is better to go alone. Zhong Yu, you also heard what my friend said. People, you can't move. Hu Feiyan looked at Zhong Yu with a very strong attitude. If you are not convinced, you and I will be able to fight a battle. Just so, I also want to see the methods of the young patriarch of the Zhong clan in Taidi. At this moment, on Hu Feiyan's body, the fighting spirit regained, a long hair broke free and the hair tress flew up, and the whole person stood there, like a female ***** of war ready to go, majestic and majestic. When Zhong Yu heard this, although his face was ugly, he still subconsciously looked at Ling Hu Yundi. And Ling Hu Yundi, after sensing Zhong Yu's gaze, said lightly, "Zhong Yu, your junior is also to blame this matter, so be it." When the voice fell, Ling Hu Yundi looked at another young man next to him, and asked indifferently, "Lung Jing, what do you think?" Lung Jing, the nephew of the patriarch of the Bingdi Lung clan and the genius of the Lung clan, came with Ling Hu Yundi and Zhong Yu on this trip. He also looked at Zhong Yu when he heard Ling Hu Yundi's words. Said, "Zhong Yu, Miss Ling Hu made sense, this matter depends on Miss Lingher's face, so let's just let it go." Humph. Zhong Yu snorted coldly. He was jealous of Ling Hu Yundi's strength and background. He didn't say much. He just gave Duan Lingtian a bitter look, then turned and left. And Lung Jing also quickly followed. Deputy Army Chief Hu. Before leaving, Ling Hu Yundi glanced at Hu Feiyan, smiled and said, "Please don't forget what you just promised me." When the voice fell, she followed Zhong Yu and left without waiting for Hu Feiyan to respond. Before turning around, She didn't know whether it was intentional or unintentional. She stayed on Duan Lingtian for a while before moving away. And the survivor of the bandit organization was also a sloppy middle-aged man who brought Zhongyu to the door. His face was also very ugly at this time, and he never expected this result. Of course, he didn't dare to neglect, and quickly followed Zhongyu. He had no doubt that if he didn't follow up in time, he would be left behind by the opponent or even perished on the spot. A battle ended in this way. Did not even fight. However, although there was no fight, Duan Lingshan's heart was not calm. He knew that the scene just now seemed calm, but it was actually after the calmness. If Linghu Yundi of the Linghu family hadn't intervened that day, this matter could not have ended in such a hasty way. Whether it is the Taidi Zhong clan or the Bingdi Lung clan, they are all powerful families that are not weaker than Yangtian army. As the genius powerhouses of the two clans, the strength is close to the existence of the invincible high-ranking gods, and naturally they are not afraid of Hu Feiyan. Not to mention he's an unknown person. Today, if there is no Linghu Yundi, I am afraid not only Hu Feiyan will take the shot, but I will also take the shot. Only by overwhelming Zhongyu and Leng Jing can we protect Tan Xiuteng. Duan Lingtian knew this very well. This hasn't entered the three holy realms yet, it's just in one of the outer realms of the three holy realms. In this realm, there can be three existences that are close to the invincible high-ranking gods, and one of them is even more recognized as hero. The first person under the invincible high-ranking god. Thinking of Linghu Yundi, even Duan Lingtian was full of jealousy. The opponent can be recognized as invincible under the invincible upper gods of the Pingxiong realm. Naturally, there is no doubt about his strength. Even if he shoots with all his strength, even if all the laws are cloned, or even ask for the help of the Tree of Life and the ***** of pure water, I am afraid that he may not be able to defeat the opponent. At most, I'm afraid it will be a tie. Even, maybe he fell into a disadvantage. After all, none of the laws he mastered has entered the realm of small perfection. His strength is strong, relying more on kendo. That Linghu Yundi is so powerful, I'm afraid it's not just that he has a profound knowledge of the rules, it's certainly not weak in other ways not limited to the four ways of heaven and earth. Duan Lingshan's expression became serious unconsciously. Thank you, Master, and thank you, Deputy Chief Hu. At the same time, seeing Zhongyu's backs completely disappeared before his eyes, Tan Xiuteng breathed a sigh of relief, but also hurriedly thanked Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan. In his opinion, he has recovered his life today. Young Master, Deputy Army Leader Hu. The young master of the Taidi Zhong clan left just now because he was afraid of Miss Linghu from the Tianmen Linghu family. After leaving, he may not be able to give up. Tan Xiuteng suggested, otherwise, we will take a detour on the next road. I can control the divine weapon spacecraft. Master and Deputy Army Master who can practice or understand the laws and the four realms of the world with peace of mind. Tan Xiuteng made such a suggestion, naturally not only for Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan's sake, but also for his own sake. Once the young master of the Zhong clan of Taidi, Zhongyu, gets rid of Linghu Yundi and comes back, fearing the background behind his young master and Deputy Army Master Hu, perhaps he will not kill his master and Deputy Army Master Hu, but he will not have any concerns. Tan Xiuteng's suggestion was adopted by Hu Feiyan. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian naturally didn't have any comments, and it took a little more time at most to make a detour. After a while, an artifact spacecraft did not move forward, but detoured to the side. Behind the divine artifact spacecraft, Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan didn't even notice it. A sloppy middle-aged man was following their divine artifact spacecraft far away. The other side. Miss Linghu, why do you give Hu Feiyan face like that? Nayan Tianjun, in front of your Tianmen Linghu family, I am afraid that it is nothing at all, right? Leng Jing looked at Linghu Yundi who was not far away, and asked in confusion. As far as he knows, there are no less than 3 strongest people in the Tianmen Linghu family, from the half-step ancestor of the world, and the strength is not weaker than that of the Nayan army master Hu Bugue. In front of the Tianmen Linghu family, the Nayan heavenly army was nothing at all. Didn't I just talk about it? My parents have an old relationship with the leader of the Nayan heavenly army. Ling Hu Yundi spoke lightly, with a little impatience in his tone, so that the curious Leng Jing did not continue to ask, because he knew that it would be boring to continue to ask. Zhong Yu. At the same time, Leng Jing Chuanyin said to Zhong Yu, after we are separated from Ling Hu Yundi, I will accompany you one more time, catch up with the three people, and avenge your younger brother. Even if you can't kill Hu Feiyan, you can't let that young man continue to live. After all, it was the young man's man who killed your junior. Of course, before you set off, I suggest that you'd better send a message back to the Zhong clan and find some helpers to accompany you. At least we should be close to the invincible high-ranking gods. That young man, judging from Hu Feiyan's politeness to him, the strength is probably not below Hu Feiyan. As far as the two of us are concerned, I'm afraid we may not be able to win them. Hearing Leng Jing's voice transmission, Zhong Yu's expression remained unchanged, his eyes were not waved at Ji Yu Jing, and the voice transmission faintly replied, I have this intention, too. In the next moment, deep in Zhong Yu's gaze, the cold spread, and the killing intent was awe-inspiring. End of this chapter. Chapter 4472. They should also have thought that you might come back with a carbine. Leng Jing Chuanyin said with concern, you said after we left, would they choose to take a detour? Depending on their previous whereabouts, it should be the location of the Wind Holy Realm, one of the three holy realms. If we go to the Feng Sacred Realm and take a long journey from here, it will be difficult for us to chase them. When he heard Leng Jing's concerns, Zhong Yu smiled indifferently, you don't have to worry about this. Didn't you find that the guy who was behind us is nowhere to be seen? As soon as Zhong Yu's voice fell, Leng Jing couldn't help but glance back, a look of surprise flashed in his eyes. Did you let him follow them? At this time, Leng Jing was relieved. The other party can't run. Should you not be discovered? Although rest assured, Leng Jing couldn't help asking more. Rest assured. Zhong Yu said confidently, that guy, what he is good at is the laws of the Earth system. Last time, he witnessed my junior and his younger brother fighting with them, and they didn't find his trace, and it is impossible to find it this time. He is a talent in this field specially selected by my junior brother. In addition, I also promised him. This time, as long as we do well, I will take him back to Zhong's family and let him become a child of Zhong's family. Hearing Zhong Yu's words, Leng Jing no longer doubted. The divine weapon spacecraft, detour forward. For Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan, this was nothing. It was nothing more than spending 10.5 days to travel to the Holy Land of Wind. Not to mention 10 days and a half months, even if it is a few months and a year, it is nothing to them. Inside the divine weapon spacecraft, Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan closed their eyes and practiced. However, Tan Shouting was driving the divine weapon spacecraft all the way, walking in one direction at first, but when he got to the back, he forgave multiple directions many times. This scene also caused the sloppy middle-aged man who was behind the divine weapon spacecraft to cry again and again, damn, the man who controls the spacecraft, it should be the guy who killed the leader in the past, right? You've all gone around, and why are you changing directions? Although his hidden skills are good, he still relies more on the laws of the Earth system he is good at, and if he appears repeatedly, he will be easily spotted. Although it was not difficult to keep up with the other party, it also made him spend a lot of effort and turned his head back. Fortunately, I stepped into the realm of high-ranking gods a few years ago. Otherwise, I'm really not sure to keep up. The sloppy middle-aged rejoiced in his heart. And all of this, Tan Shouting, who was driving the magical spacecraft, didn't know. In the next way, although deliberately detoured, he still encountered several waves of bandits, all of which were shot by Tan Shouting, killing them one by one and repelling them. Tan Shouting did not pursue the opponent who was repulsed, for fear that too much movement would attract the threat from the Taidi Zhong clan. The Taidi Zhong clan is very famous in Pingxiong. Although not as good as the Tianmen Linghu family, it is second only to the top powers in the Pingxiong realm like the Tianmen Linghu family. Zhong Yu, the young patriarch of the Zhong clan, when he left, he was obviously full of unwillingness. I'm afraid, as long as he is separated from that Miss Murong, he will find someone to chase us. Tan Shouting knows this very well. If the members of the Zhong clan catch up, Deputy Army Chief Hu and Young Master will definitely have the means to protect their lives. Coupled with the deterrence of their background, The Zhong clan may not be able to kill them all. And by then, it will be difficult to survive. When the time comes, even if the young master and deputy army chief who intend to protect me, they are afraid that they will be powerless. It was precisely because he knew this, that Tan Shoting drove the magical spacecraft on his way, so he changed directions frequently and did not detour in one direction. Even, the divine weapon spacecraft he is currently driving is farther and farther away from that wind holy realm. Otherwise, you don't want to go to Fengsheng realm at all? Go over here, and take another step. It won't take long. The distance from the Wind Saint realm is no closer than the distance from the Thunder Saint realm. Despite such thoughts, Tan Shoting still did not make the decision by himself. After taking a glance at Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan, who were still cultivating with their eyes closed, Tan Shoting finally made a decision. He went to the area bordering the Wind Holy Realm and Thunder Holy Realm. When the young master and deputy army master who woke up, wait for them to decide whether to go to the Wind Holy Realm or the Thunder Holy Realm. Tan Shoting secretly said, "That's all. Go all the way." The bandits encountered along the way were all repelled and killed by Tan Shoting. In the end, Tan Ziyuteng's vigilance even relaxed a little. 10 days have passed. The tidy Zhong clan hasn't come yet. It should be impossible to keep up, right? Now they are most likely to be in the direction we were walking in before, and they want to stop us halfway. We make a detour, they can only stare. Thinking of this, Tan Shoting couldn't help feeling a little happy. However, Tan Ziyuteng's joy did not last long. 5 days later, there were more than a dozen silhouettes blocking the way. Tan Shoting, who thought he was just an ordinary gangster, approached and saw the appearance of the two leading men. He was shocked. The sharply contracted pupils were also full. Amazed and incredible. How is this possible? How did they keep up? Could it be that something was done on me? It's not right. If he wants to do anything on me, Master Hu and Deputy Army Chief Hu cannot be ignorant at all. At this moment, the two-headed people who appeared in Tan Ziyuteng's eyes were none other than the young patriarch of the tidy Zhong clan Zhong Yu, and the genius direct descendant of the Bingdi Lung clan Lung Jing. Zhong Yu and Lung Jing stood side by side. Behind them, stood a middle-aged and 2 old people. Behind them, there were 10 middle-aged and young men in black costumes. Young Master, Deputy Army Master Hu. The scene before him frightened Tan Shoting for a while, and when he recovered, he hurriedly woke up Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan. The situation in front of him is no longer something he can control and solve. He didn't even need to probe, he could guess. The 3 people standing in the second row behind Zhong Yu and Lung Jing are all close to the invincible high-ranking god. As for the 10 people standing in the third row, none of them is weaker than him. How can he control and solve this situation? Maybe they just got out of the artifact spacecraft. They were killed directly by the opponent. Have you reached the Holy Land of Wind? Hu Feiyan, who was awakened, frowned slightly, glanced at Tan Shoting, and asked subconsciously. But Duan Lingtian was not at a loss for Hu Feiyan. After he was awakened, his eyes fell on the mirror image of the front view on the side of the artifact spacecraft for the first time, the Zhong Yu of the Zhong clan, and the Lung Jing of the Lung clan. It's making a comeback. This time, looking at their posture, they should have come prepared. The Miss Linghu is no longer by their side. I want to come. After they separated from the Miss Linghu, they summoned men and horses to chase him up. Speaking of this, Duan Lingtian looked at Tan Shoting again. He is weird. Tan Shoting obviously decided to make a detour. Why would he be caught up by the other party? And Tan Shoting, at this time, also saw the meaning in the eyes of his young master, and suddenly said with a wry smile, "Master, I have been cautious enough. I changed directions more than 100 times on this journey, but I didn't expect to be caught up." Tan Shoting at this time was actually more fearful than anyone else. The bitter smile on his face is more of a strong smile. End of this chapter. Please remember the domain name of this book's first publication. _warp. Chapter 4473. Tan Shoting knew very well. Today, the 3 of them are caught up, and there is a high probability that it will be difficult to escape. Unless, his young master, or Hu Feiyan, the deputy commander of Yangtian army, is willing to take out the trump card given by the strongest, and force the group of people in front of him, and then take him away. It's just that the cards given by the strongest are basically life-saving means. When these people are only targeting themselves, would his young master and deputy military leader really want to use it for him? It's not that he feels that his young master and deputy army master who are not righteous, but even if he is standing in the position of two people, it is impossible to use such means to shelter a less important person. Tan Xiaoting still knows his own position in the eyes of the two around him. Moreover, he also felt that not long ago, his young master was willing to protect him in such a situation. He had done his best to do his best. Even if he gave up on him this time, he could hardly complain. It seems that we have been tracked all the way to this point. Hu Feiyan narrowed his eyes, and a cold light flashed between his eyes. This Zhongyu, and that Leng Jing, I think that Miss Linghu is not easy to provoke, so I can't provoke it. Although Hu Feiyan has a good impression of Linghu Yundi, it does not mean that others can look down on Gao Linghu Yundi while at the same time, and she also feels that she is not inferior to Linghu Yundi. Although Linghu Yundi's strength is beyond her reach, her age is at least a few thousand years younger than Linghu Yundi. She didn't think that after thousands of years, she would still be inferior to Linghu Yundi now. Being a strong female is indispensable for comparison. Now, seeing Zhongyu and Leng Jun making a comeback, Hu Feiyan was completely angry. As for Duan Lingtian, he had already stood up, his gaze toward the front became colder, and he was also muttering something. At this moment, only Duan Lingtian himself can know what he is whispering. While whispering, Duan Lingshan's eyes were sharply bright, as if the hunter had finally found his favorite prey after searching for many days. Young master, Vice Army Chief Hu, if there is really no way, please hand me over. Tan Xiaoting sighed and said, presumably, as long as you hand me over, they won't do anything to you again. At this moment, Tan Xiaoting was not trying to retreat, but really felt that there was no need to conflict with those in front of him, as long as he pushed himself out to solve the problem. Thinking about it, it is impossible for the other party to really tear his face with his young master and Hu Feiyan, the deputy commander of the Yangtian army. However, neither Hu Feiyan nor Duan Lingtian ignored Tan Xiaoting. Since everyone is here, let's go out and meet them. Before Duan Lingtian spoke indifferently, Feng Shu Yufeng had already walked out of the whole person, and in a blink of an eye he flew out of the Divine Weapon spaceship, came to the front of the Divine Weapon spacecraft, and confronted a dozen people blocking the road. And Hu Feiyan followed out afterwards. Tan Xiaoting, even though he was reluctant to come out in his heart, he knew that no matter if he couldn't come out, the ending would be the same, so he still followed. At this time, even though he was still alive, he believed in his heart that he was dead this time, desperate to the extreme, and his thoughts were ashamed. Zhongyu, what do you mean? Hu Feiyan and Duan Lingtian stood side by side, with beautiful eyes, but at this moment Dawson's cold light burst out. Before, didn't you leave happily? Why? Miss Linghu is not by your side, so you think him Hu Feiyan to deceive. Hu Feiyan was really angry at this time. This Zhongyu obviously didn't put her in his eyes. Faced with Hu Feiyan, who was so angry like a tigress, Zhongyu hadn't spoken yet, but Leng Jing on the side was the first to speak. Deputy Army Master Hu, you are the deputy commander of the Yangtian Army, the Yangtian Army military doctrine, who dares to deceive? You. We are here only to kill junior brother Zhongyu. As for you and this friend by your side, we will never hurt you a bit. Leng Jing's tone was very gentle, revealing friendliness. Humph. Hu Feiyan snorted coldly. Today, as long as Hu Feiyan is here, don't you want to move him? When the words fell, Hu Feiyan's body, the power of the magical power, was already turbulent, and even the robes on his body were blown by the strong wind and hunted. At this moment, her pair of eyes burst into a strong fighting spirit. Zhongyu, how about today's matter? You and I will solve it in one battle. Hu Feiyan spoke again, his tone was soothing and ear-splitting. As long as you are within 100 moves, let me fall into the wind. People, I will no longer shelter. If you can't do it, how about you take your people and retreat? As soon as Hu Feiyan spoke, he stated that he was going to fight Zhongyu, using her fight with Zhongyu to understand what was at hand. In fact, as early as when he saw Zhongyu and learned Zhongyu's identity, Hu Feiyan became wary and wanted to fight the opponent. However, because of Linghu Yundi's intervention, her wish could not be fulfilled. She still has a certain understanding of Zhongyu, thinking that she is definitely not weaker than the other party. Within 100 moves, the other party will never let her fall into the wrong place. Tan Xiuting, who originally thought he was going to die, heard Hu Feiyan's words, and a ray of hope suddenly appeared in his eyes. At the same time, he looked at Hu Feiyan with a little more gratefulness. Although Hu Feiyan mentioned the gambling appointment, she may not be able to win. But at least there is hope. And Duan Lingtian, when he heard Hu Feiyan's words, still had a calm face and could not see any emotions. In fact, he did not have any emotions either. Tan Xiuting, during the performance of the Sky Blood Oath, is his person and has nothing to do with Hu Feiyan. Hu Feiyan's willingness to protect Tan Xiuting is a passion, but his unwillingness to keep it is his duty. He respects Hu Feiyan's choice and will not do this. Dissatisfied. Therefore, when Hu Feiyan said this, he didn't think there was anything wrong with it. He will protect his people. Laugh. Zhongyu, who had been preempted by Leng Jing to speak before, could not help but laugh after hearing what Hu Feiyan said. Hu Feiyan, give face to Hu's army master, call you Lieutenant Commander Hu, you are really real I thought, this is Yangtian army, Hu Feiyan's sight? The current situation, but I am strong and you are weak. Why do I promise you such a self-assertive condition? When the voice fell, Zhongyu raised his hand and waved forward, Leng Jing, you and the elder Zhongming and the three of them stopped them, and the black magic guards dispersed and disturbed the surrounding space and prevented them from teleporting. I personally sent this guy who killed my junior brother on the road. At the same time as the words fell, Zhongyu's eyes full of killing intent also instantly shifted to Tan Xiuting, who was standing behind Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan. Chapter 4474. Zhongyu opened his mouth, bluntly and ordered, as if he had already figured out how to deal with the three of Duan Lingtian. He chose to contain Hu Feiyan. Because Hu Feiyan has a good background, I really want to push Hu Feiyan. Hu Feiyan can take out her adoptive father, as the most powerful Yangtian army leader who does not return to the life-saving means, then, he will not be able to save Hu Feiyan. There is a high probability that you will also use the life-saving means given by your ancestors. He wouldn't do something that is not worth the loss. Moreover, he also concluded, as long as Hu Feiyan is not attacked, it is impossible for Hu Feiyan to use the life-saving means given by her adoptive father for the sake of a subordinate. As for the young man next to Hu Feiyan, who was also the one who killed his junior and chased after him, so that Hu Feiyan could treat each other like that, there is a high probability that he was also a distinguished person with a good background. This kind of person has a high probability of having life-saving means given by the strongest. Plus, Hu Feiyan might protect him. Therefore, he does not intend to move this young man. As for the person who killed his junior and his younger brother, he doesn't care. Even if you have a good background, there are strong people behind you. But these, I have Zhongyu too. It's normal for your servant to kill my junior and kill someone for his life, right? If you want me to persuade me, it's not impossible. As long as the strongest behind you is stronger than the one behind me, I will swallow that breath and dare not raise revenge anymore. If it is not stronger than the one behind me, then you can only surrender his life. As the young patriarch of the Zhong clan in Taidi, Zhongyu also has his own pride and cannot easily bow his head. Earlier, Ling Hu Yundi threatened to protect others. He was not as strong as Ling Hu Yundi, and his background was not as strong as Ling Hu Yundi's background, so he gave in front of Ling Hu Yundi. Hu Feiyan is not enough to make him give in. As for the youth around Hu Feiyan, he still doesn't know the origin, and his background may not be stronger than his. Why did he give in? If you want me to back down, just show your background over my tidy Zhong clan. Do it. Following Zhongyu's cold cry, Leng Jing beside him, as well as the three powerful members of the Zhong clan behind him who were close to the invincible upper gods, set out one after another to kill Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan. The other 10 black dark guards in the mouth of Zhongyu, who were slightly weaker, spread out and crossed each other, making all their moves, disturbing the surrounding space. Obviously, Zhongyu knew that Hu Feiyan was good at the laws of space. He didn't want Hu Feiyan to take people away. After practicing the law of space to the realm of small perfection, it is enough to take people to teleport. Although only one person can be taken away, he is worried that the other person is taking away the person he wants to kill. In addition, the young man whose temperament is obviously insufficient, and whose background is most likely not under Hu Feiyan, he may not be able to kill, nor may he dare to kill. Enter my space artifact. Seeing the four powerhouses coming together, Zhong Yu's eyes locked on Tan Shouteng. When Tan Ziyuteng's face was desperate and all his thoughts were grayed out, a sound like a natural sound came into his ears again. Master! Tan Ziyuteng's heart was shocked, and he never thought that at this time, this young master actually planned to protect him. You know, the current situation is not optimistic. The opponent's strength obviously has to surpass his own side. It's okay if oneself can have the upper hand, but if it can't, in the end, you can only use the means given by the strongest, and even call out the projection of the strongest deity. However, his own side has this method. As the young patriarch Zhong Yu of the Tailing Zhong clan in the Pingxiong realm, will he? Moreover, beside Zhong Yu, there was a Lungjing from the Frozen clan. Calm, although not the young patriarch of the Lung clan, he is also a peerless genius of the Lung clan, the strongest of the Lung clan, and he definitely has the means to save his life, including the projection of the deity. At the end, if both sides call out the projection of the Xeon's deity, then it is a confrontation at the Xeon's level. At that time, it's up to the Xeon who has the harder fists. Even if the two sides are evenly matched, Tan Shouteng will die out of 10. If you don't want to die, you can only hope that the Xeon on your side will be stronger. Hurry up! Duan Lingtian said impatiently, urging Tan Shouteng to enter the space artifact he took out. Once the battle started, he would not be able to take care of Tan Shouteng. Hu Feiyan on the side was also a little surprised to see Duan Lingtian doing this. Obviously he didn't expect him to make such a choice. In this case, we must protect Tan Shouteng. Could it be that he is so confident about the strong man behind him? In Hu Feiyan's eyes, the situation in front of him was just like what Tan Shouteng saw. In the end, it must be a confrontation between the strongest. Hu Feiyan didn't think that he and this young man named Li Feng could contend with the existence of 5 high-ranking gods, including Zhong Yu and Lung Jing, who were close to invincible in strength. Even with Zhong Yu alone, she was not completely sure to gain the upper hand. Good, very good. And Zhong Yu obviously did not expect the young people around Hu Feiyan to do this. I want to see who is the strongest behind you. Regardless of whether it is a place outside the world or the world, the strongest people are not unknown generations, because the rise of a strong person requires many opportunities. And many opportunities need to be contended. The same is true for the strongest. The Xeons are superior in their eyes, and they are even more mysterious and unpredictable in the eyes of most people, but in fact, the Xeons are essentially no different from them. The strongest are also pursuing continuous improvement. The strongest people are all the existences that rely on their own strength to break out of the siege, such as the strongest of their Tailing Zhong clan, whose reputation is so great that they spread all over the world, even thousands of people. Boundary. And that day, the half-step world veteran of the Linghu family, don't have to say more. Half-step Jiezun is the most powerful existence under Jiezun strong. Jiezun cannot come out, half-step Jiezun is the respect. I hope you don't regret it. Zhong Yu shouted angrily, and then set off, and Lung Jing joined forces to kill Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan. At the same time, he coldly shouted, Hu Feiyan, your friend is crazy. I persuade you, it is better to don't drip this muddy water. But Hu Feiyan smiled faintly in the face of the furious Zhong Yu. Zhong Yu, you also said, this is my friend. My friend, how can I, Hu Feiyan, stand by and watch? As the words fell, Hu Feiyan's divine power shook, and the power of the law of space surged, causing ripples in the surrounding space. Although the pressure in front of her was great, it was not enough to make her afraid. After all, her whole card is not limited to her own strength. End of this chapter. Please remember the domain name of this book's first publication. _warp. Chapter 4475. Hu Feiyan is still very confident about the means of life-saving in his own hands. Don't say that you have not entered the 3 holy realms now, you have entered the 3 holy realms, unless the semi-holy level of the strongest wants to deal with her, otherwise, it is basically impossible to really kill her. Half-holy, that is, half-step saint, is also another kind of name for the half-step Jezun from outside the world. Those who are strong in the world correspond to the saints. Half-step Jezun is a half-step saint, referred to as half-saint. As long as the half-holy can't come out, Hu Feiyan is confident that in a place outside the world, as long as she doesn't enter the secret realm that restricts her from using the life-saving means given by her adoptive father, no one should be able to threaten her life. It seems that he is very confident of the strongest behind him. Is he semi-sage? It can't be a saint, right? Hu Feiyan glanced at the young man not far away, and secretly speculated in her heart. In her opinion, the other party had to protect Tan Shouting in this situation, indicating that he was not afraid of the strongest person he would face next. Clash. He must have confidence in the strongest behind him. You deal with that Zhong Yu, and the other four will leave it to me. And just as Hu Feiyan was thinking about it, Duan Lingshan's voice was already echoing in her ears, shocking her heart. What this guy means, he wants to deal with one enemy and four of Leng Jing. Although she didn't know the three people brought by Zhong Yu and Leng Jing, she also saw from the laws and strength that they showed when they left, that their strength was close to the existence of the invincible high-ranking god. Perhaps she is slightly inferior to her, but it is difficult for any one person to fight alone. She wants to defeat. If the other two join forces, she can only barely contend. When the three of them join together, she will lose. Moreover, it was defeated in a short time. But now, this Li Feng, is he crazy? This is the only thought left in Hu Feiyan's mind at this moment, because in her opinion, with Li Feng's strength, facing Leng Jing and other four close to invincible high-ranking existences alone is tantamount to being a man with a man's arm. He really thought he was Ling Hu Yundi? If it was Ling Hu Yundi, who was known as the Invincible under the invincible upper ***** of the Pingxiong realm, could deal with these four people, she would still believe. But at most there would be no fear of four people, and it would be almost impossible to defeat them. They are all beings close to the invincible high-ranking gods, even if Ling Hu Yundi's strength is top. In fact, it is also limited, and it is possible to defeat the two of Leng Jing and other four together. Wanting to beat the three of them together is no different from a delusion. As for the four, it is even more so without even thinking about it. He really wants one person to fight four people. Just when Hu Feiyan felt that Duan Lingtian was crazy and a little stunned, she saw that Duan Lingtian had moved and directly slaughtered the four of Leng Jing an attack. At this moment, the young man wearing a purple suit seemed to have turned into a sharp sword out of its sheath, blasting out in a whistling manner. He should be planning to face the 4-by-1 person, and at the same time call out the projection of the strongest person behind him. Hu Feiyan secretly said in his heart. However, thinking about it this way, Hu Feiyan did not express any opinions on Duan Lingshan's arrangements, and even rushed out when Duan Lingtian set out. In Hu Feiyan's hands, a compass-shaped weapon appeared, which was her most powerful artifact. This supreme artifact was specially made for her by her adoptive father. It is very suitable for her, and it is also very helpful for her to improve her strength. When this Xeon artifact first arrived in her hand, she used it to drive it like an arm, and she didn't need to waste time to run in like other people's Xeon artifacts. For example, the 7-orifice Linglong sword in Duan Lingshan's hand was also because he had followed him in the past, and it had long been run in. Therefore, even if it was transformed into a Xeon artifact through multiple Xeon artifact embryos, it was no stranger to Duan Lingtian. And ordinary people, given the Xeon artifact by the Xeon, it takes a long time to run in, and during the run-in period, they can't exert all the power of the Xeon artifact. Zhong Yu, I've heard of you, the young patriarch of the Zhong clan in Tailing, and let me see your methods today. After Hu Feiyan shouted arrogantly, he killed Zhong Yu. And Zhong Yu, in the face of the menacing Hu Feiyan, did not dare to be careless. After all, the name of the shadow man of the tree, Hu Feiyan, the deputy commander of the Yangtian army, he had also heard of it. It was Hu Bu, the commander of the Yangtian army. The returned love daughter, at a young age, already has the strength close to the invincible high-ranking god. Although there are few strong females, as long as they appear, they are usually amazing and brilliant. For example, Linghu Yundi from the Linghu family that day was one of the strongest. Previously, it was because Linghu Yundi was on Hu Feiyan's side, so even though he was full of anger and unwillingness, he still gave up and left until he separated from Linghu Yundi, and then made a comeback. Of course, the fear of Linghu Yundi is not only because of Linghu Yundi's strength, but also because of Linghu Yundi's background, the Tianmen Linghu family. Hu Feiyan. Zhong Yu screamed, his divine power bloomed, and the law unfolded, and then the whole person swelled and turned into a giant, surrounded by blood and energy, and rushed towards Hu Feiyan. Obviously, as soon as Zhong Yu made a move, he used the power of his blood. The Tai Ling Zhong clan, the power of the direct bloodline, is the incarnation of Titan giants, and they collide. It is said that seeing the mountains push the mountains, the water collapses, and the power is unstoppable. Humph! Hu Feiyan snorted coldly. Seeing Zhong Yu taking him so seriously, he also used his own blood. Originally, she still wanted to pay attention to Li Feng's side. If she asked her to help, she would also give a helping hand in time. But now it seems that she has no time to be distracted. Zhong Yu, who went all out, made her also have to go all out. Moreover, she could almost conclude that Zhong Yu was deliberate. Zhong Yu just didn't want to let himself give Li Feng a helping hand. Hu Feiyan's guess is indeed correct. As soon as Zhong Yu shot, he tried his best to provide Leng Jing and the Four with an opportunity to quickly take down the young man at the first time, or to force the young man to call out the projection of the strongest person behind him. Only then will they be able to confirm whether the other party can provoke. And once the opponent summons the projection of the deity of the strongest, they will also summon it here, and then it will be a battle between the strongest. And if the Xion that the opponent summons is not as strong as the Xions behind their Zhong and Leng families, they may not need to waste the opportunity to call out the Xion's deity to be able to let the opponent hand over the person honestly. As the strong side, they can't take the initiative to call out the projection of the strongest deity. Because the projection of the deity of the Xion cannot be called out at any time, it is necessary to use the projection jade slip of the deity given by the corresponding strong one, and that jade slip, even the strong one, has to spend a lot of energy. Can be produced, not many. Call out. The colorful sword beams spread across the world, Duan Lingtian made a move, and the laws of space were integrated. At the same time, the light in his eyes became stronger and stronger. These people, it's a coincidence. As soon as I broke through the law of space, they all sent them to my door to practice hand skills. That's right. Duan Lingshan's space law, half a month ago, smoothly stepped into the realm of small perfection. At this point, Duan Lingtian finally has a rule, stepping into the realm of small perfection. You must know that the power of the law has stepped into the realm of small perfection, which is undoubtedly an exaggerated qualitative change for the power of the law and for those who master the law. Before the breakthrough of the law of space, Duan Lingtian had the strength close to the invincible high-ranking god. Now that the law of space has broken through, perhaps Duan Lingshan's current strength is not yet at the level of the invincible high-ranking god, but it is probably stronger than 99% of the existence close to the invincible high-ranking god. Even if it was the existence of the Linghu Yundi who was known as the first person under the invincible high-ranking ***** of the Pingxiong realm, Duan Lingtian now encountered her and dared to fight. And I don't feel that I am weaker than her. End of this chapter. Chapter 4476. After the space law broke through to the realm of small perfection, Duan Lingtian could clearly feel the transformation of his own strength, and it was the transformation of qualitative change. At that moment, he even had a strong feeling, after the breakthrough, it is easy to defeat him before the breakthrough. Although, perhaps there is still some distance away from that invincible high-ranking god, it is undoubtedly much stronger than the existence of the general close to the invincible high-ranking god. After the breakthrough at that time, he felt his own strength. The first thing he thought of was the existence of Linghu Yundi, the first person under the invincible high-ranking ***** of the Pingxiong realm, who he had encountered not long ago. The daughter of the Tianmen Linghu family. On that day, although he didn't do anything with the opponent stood there, but it gave him a strong sense of oppression and made him feel the distance between him and the opponent. But now that he has broken through, He has the confidence and feels that he will never feel that way again when he meets the opponent again. Unexpectedly, before encountering Linghu Yundi, Zhongyu, the young patriarch of the Zhong clan of Tailing, brought people back, and the 5 close to invincible high-ranking gods all came out, wanting him and Hu Feiyan to hand over Tan Shoting. Obviously, the opponent is determined, and they will not easily use the life-saving means given by the strongest for Tan Shoting. In fact, even if Duan Lingtian wants to protect Tan Shoting, if he really wants him to use the life-saving means given by the strongest, he also needs to think about it. After all, the life-saving means given by the Zeon should be used once less once. And in his hands, the life-saving means given by the strongest was only the spiritual essence and blood given by the heavenly sword Situ Lei. Apart from that, there was no other means that the strongest gave. Ask him to use up the spirit accumulation essence and blood given by Situ Lei for the sake of Tan Shoting, he asked himself, there is a high probability that he would not use it. To protect Tan Shoting, he must protect him, but he can do what he can at best. This time, I can only say that Tan Shoting is lucky. While Duan Lingtian secretly said, facing the menacing 4 of Lung Jing, his complexion was calm and calm. Lung Jing is a genius child of the Bingdi Lung clan. He is good at the laws of the ice system, comprehending the laws of the ice system to the realm of small perfection, and is not the kind of initial understanding, and has a deep knowledge of the laws of the ice system. As soon as he shot, the surrounding air was icy, giving people the feeling of falling into an ice cellar. The vision of the law spread out, and the shrouded place seemed to have turned into a world of ice and snow, with snow falling and air conditioning scattered, and Lung Jing was the creator of this ice and snow world. The strongest artifact in Lung Jing's hand is also a sword that looks crystal clear, like a sword forged from ice. The sword is sharp, with the air of icy coldness, and the void in the past. The space crack just appeared, it solidified in an instant, obviously frozen by the icy air bursting out of it. The other 3 who shot with Lung Jing, as the existence of the Tai Ling Zhong clan close to the invincible high-ranking gods, naturally also have the most powerful artifacts in their hands. In addition, the laws they are good at have also realized the realm of small perfection. After all, not everyone is a monster like Duan Lingtian. Without the power of the law to reach the level of perfection, with the amazing swordsmanship, he has the strength close to the invincible high-ranking god. In the past, Duan Lingshan's strength was comparable to that of any of the existence of these few invincible high-ranking gods. At that time, his laws of space had not yet entered the realm of small perfection. And now, with the breakthrough of the law of space, his strength has been further transformed, which can be called the transformation of qualitative chain. Call out. Duan Lingtian swept out with a sword, and the colorful glow of the clouds completely robbed the limelight of the ice and snow world that had been affected by the power of Lung Jing, making this world colorful. Moreover, Duan Lingshan's sword made the space constantly tremble, and a terrible storm of power swept through it. It was just a confrontation that resisted the joint efforts of the 4 Lung Jing. Boom. Rumble. In a brief confrontation, Duan Lingshan's strength and the strength of Lung Jing's 4 collided. The terrible force collided, causing the void to burst, and a huge black hole in space appeared. Then the space vortex appeared, and it was easy to get away from the surroundings. The flowers and soil on the ground were all rolled in. In addition, the aftermath of power dispersed, turning a large area around it into ruins, devastated everywhere. How is this possible? Lung Jing's shocked voice suddenly resounded in the silence after the burst of power, his tone of panic, shock and incredible in his voice. Invincible high-ranking god. Immediately afterwards, another trembling voice rang out in an exclamation, and it was one of the 3 old people who shot with calmly and screamed. At the same time, Zhongyu and Hu Feiyan, who had been fighting each other evenly, were shocked by the collision of forces just now, and they did not continue to fight. When they looked at where the sound was coming from, saw the ruins and devastation in front of them, and the spatial vortex floating in the void for a long time, they also showed awe and incredible expressions. Immediately afterwards, they could see that Lung Jing's 4 had retreated far away. Judging from their current state, it could be seen that they all looked a little embarrassed. On the other side, Duan Lingtian didn't seem to be much better, but it was just like this that shocked them inexplicably. The law of space in the realm of small perfection. At the same time, Hu Feiyan, who is also good at space laws, watched Duan Lingtian suddenly exclaimed, Your space laws broke through? At this moment, Hu Feiyan's tone seemed to be filled with trembling and amazement. She knew Duan Lingtian's strength. Because, in the past, she and Duan Lingtian had a battle, and the two were evenly matched. However, in that evenly matched competition, Duan Lingtian's space law was far behind her space law, and she had not yet stepped into the realm of small perfection. Duan Lingtian relied solely on the astonishing and terrifying kendo to draw a tie with her. This Li Feng broke through the law of space? Hu Feiyan's heart was also trembling violently at this time. With his attainments in kendo, the law of space has broken through to the realm of small perfection. His hands are probably not weaker than that of Ling Hu Yundi, right? At this moment, it was Hu Feiyan who couldn't help but think of Ling Hu Yundi. At the same time, looking at the scene where Duan Lingtian and Leng Jing were clearly evenly matched after the battle, she also further confirmed her guess. This Li Feng, if the sword is further advanced, I am afraid it can be compared with the invincible high-ranking god. The law of space reaches the state of small perfection, even if it goes further. If it is not the state of great perfection, the improvement is limited, and it is not enough to produce qualitative change. Only with a big breakthrough in kendo can the opponent have the strength comparable to the invincible high-ranking ***** before the law of space has broken through to the realm of Dzogchen. Hu Feiyan knew this very well. Because, her space law has already entered the realm of small perfection, and now the reason why her strength can reach the point of being close to the invincible high-ranking deity is entirely based on his control. It was Zhong Yu, who had just fought with her. Although the law he was good at had also broken through to the realm of small perfection, what allowed him to possess the strength close to the invincible high-ranking gods was also one of the 4 ways of weapons he mastered. Chapter 4477. He is not an invincible high-ranking god. The other old man who shot with Leng Jing just now has sharp eyes, staring at Duan Lingtian like a goshawk staring at its prey. His eyes are full of fear. His space law is just the space law of the small perfect state. The reason why his strength can reach this level is entirely because of the swordsmanship he masters against the sky. His current strength. I am afraid it is not weaker than Miss Ling Hu Yundi from the Ling Hu family that day. The old man comes from the Zhong clan of Tai Ling, and is the elder of the Zhong clan of Tai Ling. This time he left the clan and rushed over after receiving Zhong Yu's information. He was to help his young patriarch and kill the young patriarch who wanted to kill him. People. On the way, he also heard from the young patriarch, why didn't he attack the opponent before? It's entirely because Ling Hu Yundi intervened. In this regard, he can also understand the feelings of the young patriarch of his own family. The eldest lady of the Tianmen Ling Hu family sheltered each other. Even if the young patriarch of his family and Leng Jing joined forces, he would not get any benefit, and would also offend him because of this. Hu Yundi. Offending Ling Hu Yundi is not much different from offending Ling Hu family. It was precisely because he had heard of Ling Hu Yundi before. At this moment, he would take out Ling Hu Yundi, who is recognized as the first person under the invincible upper deity in Pingxiong territory, to compare with the person in front of him. Not weaker than Ling Hu Yundi. Standing in the distance, Zhong Yu's expression was extremely ugly. At the same time, he stared at Duan Lingtian from a distance, and asked in a deep voice, Your Excellency, dare you to ask where are you from? Perhaps, the forces behind you have an old relationship with my Tai Ling Zhong clan. After Zhong Yu said that, his tone was obviously more polite, but as long as he was a normal person, he could hear the unwillingness and anger behind his suppressed tone. However, facing Zhong Yu's inquiry, Duan Lingtian just glanced at him lightly, then looked away, obviously not planning to respond to him. Seeing this, Zhong Yu was immediately flushed with anger. Think of him as the young patriarch of the Zhong clan of Tai Ling. When has he been so ignored? If it weren't for the background behind the opponent, he would have exploded long ago. I don't believe his strength can be compared to Ling Hu Yundi. When Zhong Yu was so angry that his expression was ugly, Leng Jing's indifferent words followed. 3. We just underestimated him and were careless. Next, the 4 of us will try our best, but I want to see if he can resist it. If it can be blocked, It means that his strength is indeed not weaker than Linghu Yundi. At the same time as Leng Jing's voice fell, the eyes of the three people around him did not count, and they all fell on Zhongyu. They are members of the Zhong clan of Tai Ling. This time they were also called by the young patriarch of their own family. What they should do next naturally depends on what the young patriarch meant. Although Leng Jing has a good relationship with their young patriarch, it is not enough to give orders to them. After seeing Zhongyu's gloomy nodding, the three of them immediately agreed to Zhongyu, and then they rushed out again with Zhongyu. 5 terrifying blood swept up, shooting the whirl. Obviously, the 4 of them shot again, just as Leng Jing said, using their best and no more reservations. The 4 figures carry 4 terrifying powers, as if the sky and the earth are straddling the ages, and the overlapping powers permeated the void, causing the void to burst and collapse. The 4 people, like gods descending, are majestic and majestic. At this moment, they obscured the sky, as if incarnate into the sky, and wanted to suppress everything. Boom. Rumble. Wow. Wow. The terrible power was turbulent, and the surging heaven and earth visions spread out. If it weren't for a very distant place, the movement in front of it was enough to attract many people to come and watch. Of course, no one is inhabited, not really uninhabited. There must be people. Now, they must also have noticed the movement here, but because their strength is too weak, they dare not approach at all, for fear that they will be affected by Kaiyu. Oh my god. What kind of powerhouse is fighting against? It's so earth-shattering. Thousands of miles away, a figure that was originally running paused, looking at the center of the burst of power. His eyes were full of horror. This movement, at least the upper gods, right? I'm afraid it's not an ordinary high-ranking god. In the other direction, 8,000 miles away, a sturdy figure stood on the top of the mountain, watching the distance from afar. His eyes were full of shock. Some time ago, I also stepped into the realm of a high-ranking god, but in front of this opponent, I'm afraid I can't stop even one move, right? Is the invincible high-ranking god? Even if it's not. I'm afraid it's a strong man close to the invincible high-ranking god. The center of the battlefield. Leng Jing did not believe that Duan Lingtian was not weaker than Linghu Yundi's strength, and once again joined forces with the 3 powers close to the invincible high-ranking gods to attack Duan Lingtian. This time, the 4 of them no longer kept their hands, and all took out the means of pressing the bottom of the box. Not far away, both Zhongyu and Hu Feiyan did not fight each other tacitly. One is because she has already tested out Zhongyu's strength, which is comparable to her. No one is better than anyone, and no one is weaker than anyone. Second, now she wants to see the real means after the breakthrough of Duan Lingtian's space law. This Li Feng also has the law clone. After the space law breaks through, his space law clone must be stronger, Hu Feiyan secretly said. She still knows some of Duan Lingtian's whole cards. At the same time, when faced with the 4 Leng Jing who were making a comeback again, Duan Lingtian not only flinched without the slightest fear, but even dazzled and greeted him with a flash of body shape. In the process of Duan Lingtian rushing out, while the power of the surrounding space storm swept across the void, another Duan Lingtian appeared. However, the gaze of this Duan Lingtian seemed a bit dull. However, although the person looked a little dull and sluggish, when he moved, he was not much slower than Duan Lingtian's deity, and even more concise and crisp. Law clone. Zhongyu's pupils shrank slightly. Is this man from 10,000 realms? Although there are also law clones in the inheritance bloodline of powerful forces in the outside world, there are very few and more powerful people with law clones from the 10,000 realms outside the outside world. Wanjie, to Zhongyu, is both familiar and unfamiliar. The reason why he is said to be familiar is because he has heard from his elders since he was a child that the strong realms in the 10,000 realms are like clouds, especially the upper 3 realms. They have the realm-strong realms comparable to the sages outside their realms. In addition, in their Tailing Zhong clan, there are also some offerings from the 10,000 realms. Therefore, he is somewhat familiar with 10,000 realms. Of course, while he is familiar with this aspect, because he has never been to the 10,000 worlds, all kinds of understanding of the 10,000 worlds are only heard, so in this respect he is very unfamiliar with the 10,000 worlds. He only knew the powers of the saints in the 3 realms of the 10,000 worlds, and the powers under the saints, he didn't know much. This person, if he really comes from 10,000 realms, then there is a high probability that he comes from a semisage force in 10,000 realms. Thinking of all the previous things, Zhong Yu quickly had an inference in his heart. At the same time that Zhong Yu's thoughts fell, the 6 figures in the field had already clashed together again. Du and Lingtian, 2 enemies 4. Of course, the law clone is not actually an outsider, so it is not an exaggeration to say that Du and Lingtian is 1 enemy 4. After all, while he has the law clone, he has no blood to rely on. As for the 4 people on the opposite side, the power of the bloodline exploded at this time, and they spared no effort, clearly wanting to join forces to suppress Du and Lingtian. Hu Feiyan. Zhong Yu looked at Hu Feiyan, and the voice transmission asked, "This one, from which realm of the 10,000 realms? Who told you that he is a man of 10,000 realms?" Although Hu Feiyan marveled at Zhong Yu's keenness in his heart, when he responded, he was imaginary. Okay. And Zhong Yu was also successfully misled by Hu Feiyan. If it weren't from the 10,000 realms, then it could only come from one of the dozen forces. In places outside the realm, the inherited bloodline does not contain the power of the bloodline, and there are only a few more than a dozen powers that are more than half holy who are clones of the law. And there is only one such saint power. Wrong. Suddenly, Zhong Yu seemed to think of something, and shook his head. The Zhong clan behind me is a family, so I habitually think about family power. This person who owns the law clone does not mean that he does not belong to other powerful forces in the outside world, except for those who are not from the dozens of family forces in the outside world. Perhaps he came from a powerful sect outside the world. Or maybe he is a disciple of a semi-holy or above powerhouse. The reason why Du and Lingtian had a semi-sage behind it was completely because he felt that Du and Lingtian was not jealous of him, let alone fearful. And the Tai Ling Zhong clan behind him is, anyhow, a powerful force in the second echelon in Pingxiong. Although there is no semi-sage power in control, there are also several strong in the clan. Among them, there is also an existence like Hu Buguei, the commander of the Yangtian army, who is close to a half-sage. Such a force, the other party is not afraid, it is obviously bigger. Okay. And while Zhong Yu was still speculating, the loud roar from his ears and the terrifying aftermath of oncoming power made him have to rush to resist. All the distracted attention was also completely condensed at this moment and fell on the field. At this time, Du and Lingtian and Leng Jing's second confrontation finally had a result after a brief head-on confrontation. How's it going? Zhong Yu's heart moved. Hu Feiyan, who was not far away, was also staring at the field, the smoke and dust in the sky, from the beginning of the billowing, to the present gradually falling, but it was a matter of instant effort. The smoke dissipated, and everything in the field clearly fell into the eyes of Hu Feiyan and Zhong Yu. But the next moment, the two of them were all together for a while, their eyes dull. This. End of this chapter. Please remember the domain name of this book's first publication. _warp. Chapter 4478. Under the eyes of Hu Feiyan and Zhong Yu, the 4 Leng Jing stood apart in the distance, panting, pale and bleeding from the corners of their mouths, obviously suffering serious injuries. On the other side, a young man dressed in purple stood there with a pale face. As for his law clone, at this time, he looked a little illusory, as if he might collapse at any time. If you don't enter the invincible high-ranking gods, you still can't completely crush these existences that are close to the invincible high-ranking gods. Du and Lingtian sighed secretly as he looked at the 4 people in the distance. Just now, he can say that he has shot with all his strength. Even if no other laws are used. Other laws, before reaching the realm of small perfection, in fact, the algorithm is cloned. Faced with such a battle, it is also cannon fodder, and it is of little use at all. Of course, in this battle, Du and Lingtian is proud that he did not use the power of the ***** tree of life in the small world in his body, and the power of one of the 5 element gods, Jingsha Shui. If it is borrowed, Leng Jing's 4 will be further traumatized by him, and he himself will not be so embarrassed. Even though, he is far from being embarrassed by the Leng Jing 4 now. As for the complete defeat, and even the killing of the 4 Leng Jing, Even with the help of the life tree and Jingsha Shinshui in the small world inside the body, Duan Lingtian couldn't do it. Unless the power of his law goes one step further and enters the realm of Dzogchen. Or maybe his kendo takes a big step forward. Both, once realized, Duan Lingtian will officially become the invincible high-ranking god, becoming a rare existence in this area of heaven and earth than the strongest. But the law of space, if you want to go further, it is extremely difficult, not only requires understanding, but also requires a lot of luck or chance. This time, my space law can smoothly enter the realm of small perfection. In addition to my past accumulation, more importantly, it is because I recently got recorded floating shadow beads shot by an invincible upper ***** who is good at space law. In terms of kendo, I haven't improved in a long time. It feels the further you go, the harder it is to improve. It's like, my current state has come to an end. Perhaps, find some time, go back to the gods, find the master, and discuss with him. It should be a little enlightening. Duan Lingshan's kendo was enlightened by Feng Qingyang. Even if he walked out of his own way of space kendo behind, it was still born out of Feng Qingyang's own kendo. Perhaps Duan Lingshan's current overall strength is not weaker than Feng Qingyang, or even stronger. However, in terms of kendo, Duan Lingtian knows himself well, and there is still some distance from the gentle wind of the master. If my swordsmanship can reach the level of a master, I am afraid that after the breakthrough of the law of space, I will already be an invincible high-ranking god, Duan Lingtian secretly said. It is precisely because of this that he can further deeply realize how terrifying his master's accomplishments in swordsmanship are. Perhaps, even if it is a realm powerhouse, that is, Asaj from outside the world, who is good at one of the four ways of heaven and earth, it is difficult to find a person who can match the master in the way of weapons, let alone find someone who surpasses the master. Duan Lingtian also had a further understanding of this point after coming to the outside world. The strongest, as long as they comprehend the law to the realm of great perfection, even if they don't perceive any of the four paths of heaven and earth, they have the strength close to semisage. Some of the powerful trees of life can directly have semisacred power. It is precisely because of this that after the invincible high-ranking gods become the strongest, the worst is the strength close to the semisage, the strong, and even can have the strength comparable to the semisage, or even the saint in one fell swoop. If it is those invincible high-ranking gods who have comprehended the laws to the realm of great perfection, and also comprehended one of the four paths of heaven and earth to extremely high attainments, after becoming the strongest, they will directly have the strength of saint. Such as Duan Lingtian now. If Duan Lingtian now comprehends the law of space to the realm of Dzogchen, and then becomes the strongest, with the swordsmanship he now masters, he can directly have the strength of a saint. At this moment, Duan Lingtian sighed secretly here, regretting that he felt that he couldn't completely crush the four people in front of him, which was a big shortcoming. On the other side, apart from Hu Feiyan and Zhong Yu being shocked by Duan Lingshan's hands, the four Leng Jing who had just experienced an unusual collision with Duan Lingtian at this time looked at Duan Lingtian with sincere eyes. Horrified and unbelievable. How can he be so strong? Obviously it is not the invincible high-ranking god. His kendo is too strong. It feels. Even if Linghu Yundi is here, he may not be his opponent. Leng Jing's heart trembled. He didn't believe that the opponent was weaker than Linghu Yundi before, but after another confrontation just now, and it was a confrontation with his full shot, he had to believe, the opponent does have the strength not weaker than Linghu Yundi. This person, who is it? With such strength, let alone in our Pingxiong realm, even if we look at the three holy realms, or even places outside the realm, they are definitely not unknown people. Which power is he from? The other three from the Tai Ling Zhong clan were close to the invincible high-ranking gods. When they stared at Duan Lingtian, their hearts trembled constantly. As for Zhong Yu, after some communication with Leng Jing, his heart was also weak. As far as the offline situation is concerned, they do not have any upper hand, and it can even be said to be a disadvantage. If they are really fighting for life and death, I am afraid they are still slightly inferior. Of course, it is almost impossible for the other party to kill any of them. However, the more serious injuries are definitely on their side. Cool. Zhong Yu flashed away, and he came to Leng Jing's side. At the same time, his eyes fell on Duan Lingtian again. He slightly arched his hands and said, "Your strength is admirable. My junior was killed by your servants, so let's give it up. What do you think?" Zhongyu, after all, chose to make concessions. No concessions will not work. If you continue to do it, even if you don't get crushed by the opponent, you will still be crushed and beaten by the opponent, and it is only them who are aggrieved. In the end, they could only retreat in embarrassment. As for the use of the projection object given by the strongest to summon the strongest deity, if they use it here, wouldn't the other side not use it? Not to mention the powerful and mysterious young man in purple clothes, Hu Feiyan, who can easily summon the deity projection of Hu Bugue, the leader of the Nayan heavenly army. Hu Bugue, the leader of the Yangtian army, is an existence close to the semisage, not weaker than the strongest of their Tai Ling Zhong clan. If Hu is not alone, it is enough to easily protect the other party. Not to mention, behind this mysterious purple-clothed youth, there is most likely a semi-holy presence. If the half-holy deity is projected, if there is no half-holy on their side, the price must be paid in the end, even not a small price. At that time, it will be them who will suffer. And their Tai Ling Zhong clan does not have a semi-holy existence. Therefore, it is undoubtedly the wisest choice to end this conflict at this time, so as to minimize the loss. Humph. However, Duan Lingtian, who heard Zhongyu's words, suddenly snorted, "Do you think I am the one you can provoke, and you can retreat if you want?" Ridiculous. Duan Lingtian's stern shout made Zhongyu's complexion suddenly change, and the complexions of Leng Jing also became ugly in an instant. Obviously, the other party is unwilling to give up. And this also made Zhongyu, and even Leng Jing and others, more and more sure that behind this mysterious purple-clothed youth, there must be a half-sage or above. Otherwise, where does the other party have such confidence? Zhongyu. If the projection of the semi-saint deity is shown, even if we summon the deity projections of our two strongest ancestors at the same time, I am afraid we have to bow our heads and compromise. When Leng Jing transmitted the sound to Zhongyu, his tone was a little trembling. Half-holy. Such a strong person, the cold clan of them, can't afford to provoke them. End of this chapter. Chapter 4479. Half-saint. The Bingdi Lung clan can't afford it. The Tai Ling Zhong clan can't afford it either. Zhongyu understands this truth very well. It is precisely because of this that he will compromise. Otherwise, with the pride of him as the young patriarch of the Zhong clan of Tai Ling, how could he bow his head like just now? You know, for the first time in his life, he bowed his head like that. "Sir, what do you want?" After hearing Leng Jing's transmission, Zhongyu took a deep breath, looked at Duan Lingtian, and asked sincerely. There was no longer the previous arrogance, only politeness, and a hint of humility. There was a semi-holy thing behind the opponent, although it was all his guess. However, even if it was a guess, he did not dare to bet. Because the bet is lost, the price is too high. Moreover, he is 90% sure of his guess. Therefore, he did not dare to bet, nor could he bet. I'm not a kid anymore. If you do something wrong, you have to pay a price. Duan Lingtian glanced at Zhongyu indifferently, and said, "I heard that in Tailing, your Zhong clan has mastered a Elysium Flower Valley. I'm not greedy, Elysium Flower King, just give me 9 plants." When the voice fell, he didn't care about Zhongyu, whose face changed suddenly, and then looked at Leng Jing. Iceland Lung clan, the captive Beiming Hanyu, has long been like Lei Iguana. On your side, I am also not greedy. Give me 3 northern underworld fish kings. Whether it is the king of bliss or the king of the North Sea fish, they are extremely rare treasures of heaven and earth, and they have a great effect on the cultivation of the monks under the upper gods. Even high-ranking gods can use them to refine their divine power, but few people are extravagant to do so. Even the Zhong clan and the Lung clan would not allow the upper gods in the clan to do such things, because this is an extremely extravagant and wasteful thing. As Duan Lingtian's voice fell, Leng Jing's face changed instantly. This is not greedy. The Lung clan, although they raise the northern underworld fish in captivity, the northern underworld fish is very difficult to raise, and it consumes a lot of valuable resources of the Lung clan. And the northern underworld fish emperor, among the northern underworld fish, is one of the only existence in a million. In the past 10,000 years, among the North Underworld cold fishes raised by their Lung clan, there have also been 2 North Underworld cold fish emperors. And now, when this mysterious young man opened his mouth, he actually asked for 3. If this can be called not greedy, what is greedy? You know, it is that their Lung clan can now produce at most 10 or 8 Northern Underworld cold fish emperors, and that is already where their Lung clan's deposits are. The situation on Zhong Yu's side is similar. 9 trees of bliss cow? This is not greedy. Why don't you go to heaven? Although he felt that the person in front of him was greedy, Zhong Yu didn't anger him because of the situation. He had no second choice other than active compensation. Zhong Yu. Lung Jing sent a message to Zhong Yu and complained, "This time, I am trying to help you. What he wants from me should be yours." Now, Lung Jing really regretted it, and he would have known it a long time ago. What happened to him this time? What happened to his frozen clan? However, Zhong Yu smiled coldly after hearing Lung Jing's complaint. "Leng Jing, from beginning to end, I didn't take the initiative to ask you for help. You are the one who is hot, you must follow me to join in the fun, including the comeback now, although it is my plan. Before I tell the plan, are you encouraging? If there is nothing wrong, you are afraid that the world will not be chaotic. Now, something has happened, you want to separate the relationship. Is there such a good thing in this world?" Zhong Yu is also a little angry now. This Lung Jing, he really didn't expect him to be of much help, including the helpers who came now, who were all members of the Zhong clan he had called. And now, having caused trouble together, he actually wants to separate the relationship. Simply wishful thinking. Your mightiness. Taking a deep breath, Zhong Yu looked at Duan Lingtian. He was irritated by Lung Jing Chuan Yin, and he was no longer in the mood to bargain with the other party. "The king of bliss you want, our Zhong family can give it to you. But, I don't have it. It needs to be fetched from the Hui clan." "Okay, I'll be waiting for you here." Duan Lingtian nodded. He didn't expect the other party to bring so many king of bliss with him. As for bad debts, he is not worried. Judging from the current situation, Zhong Yu is obviously very jealous of him. The high probability is that he feels that there is more than a half-sage behind him, and he does not dare to provoke him. Not only Zhong Yu didn't dare to provoke, but the Zhong clan behind Zhong Yu didn't dare to provoke a semi-sage power easily. "I will come back as soon as possible." Zhong Yu nodded to Duan Lingtian, and then he greeted his people to leave. When they came, they were majestic when they left. It's just that when the Tai Ling Zhong clan and his party left, they obviously lost their aggressive momentum, one by one, their heads down and their morale lost. When you come, imagine trying to push the other side and get what you want. When I left, the matter was unsuccessful, and he retreated in embarrassment. Zhong Yu took people away like this. All of a sudden, except for Duan Lingtian and Hu Feiyan, there was only Lung Jing left on the scene. And Duan Lingshan's gaze fell on Lung Jing's body at this time. After Lung Jing noticed Duan Lingshan's gaze and Hu Feiyan's gaze following him, he felt a chill in his heart. Not to mention that the young man in front of him is far from being a rival, plus Hu Feiyan's words, if the two join hands, even if they really keep him here forever, it's not impossible. 3 Northern Underworld Fish Emperors, I will get them from the Hui clan. While Leng Jing secretly took a breath of air conditioning, he hurriedly expressed his stance to Duan Lingtian, as if he was afraid that he would be too late to express his stance, and Duan Lingtian would misunderstand that he was unwilling to pay compensation. When the voice fell, Leng Jing also ran away in a hurry. After Leng Jing left, Duan Lingtian looked at Hu Feiyan and said silently, "Didn't you say they would bargain? Why are they so happy? I asked to be lowered." "I knew that, so I'll say more. Whether it is the King of Bliss with the Zhong clan of Tai Ling, or the King of North Sea Fish from the Bingdi Lung clan, it is Hu Feiyan's idea and Hu Feiyan's suggestion. According to Hu Feiyan's original words, these 2 things are very rare things, so you can quote a price and wait for the other party to pay. Such as the Northern Underworld Fish Emperor, it is already a pleasant surprise to get one. Bliss cow, if you can get 3 or 5 plants, it's not bad." Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Hu Feiyan was actually a little speechless. The scene just now also surprised her. She never expected that Zhong Yu and Leng Jing would be so happy. Could it be that those two guys really thought there was a semi-sage power behind Li Feng? I'm afraid it is indeed the case. Otherwise, how could they cooperate like this? They are not bargaining. For a while, Hu Feiyan looked at Du and Lingtian with a bit more envy. 9 trees of bliss cow, 3 North Sea fish kings. Even for her, this is a great asset. Even, this is the treasure that can make the strongest fight. The other side. On the way to bring people back to the Zhong clan in Tailing, Zhong Yu's expression was so ugly and ugly. He never expected that this time he would lose so badly. Even if the strength is not as good as the opponent, even the background is far inferior to the opponent. Senior brother, you have hurt me miserably, brother. Now, Zhong Yu has already regretted being up for his junior. For a dead deceased, the loss was so heavy. Zhong Yu could imagine that his father, the contemporary patriarch of the Zhong clan, would definitely scold him when he returned this time. Once the 9 trees of bliss cow go out, this news is impossible to hide. At that time, his father will also be under pressure from the clan elders in the clan. After all, bliss cow belongs to the family, not his father. And the matter was caused by him. No. Even if I hand over the things this time, I can't make him feel better. He is carrying a lot of treasure, enough to make some strong people desperate for it. Among them, it also includes the Xeon. A flash of madness flashed in Zhong Yu's eyes. 9 trees of bliss cow. 3 northern underworld fish kings. Enough to make many Xeons go crazy. However, even if we want to spread the news, we must be careful. We can't let him find the heads of our Zhong clan again. It's best to lead this disaster to the Lung clan. Thinking of this, the corner of Zhong Yu's mouth also gave a sneer at the right time. When Zhong Yu brought people back to the Zhong clan in Tailing, Leng Jing also returned to the Bingdi Lung clan alone. This time, the uncle must be under great pressure. I knew it. I won't join in this excitement. When Ling Hu Yundi left, how good I was to go to the Hui clan. Why should I join Zhong Yu in the fun? Leng Jing now has regrets in his intestines. Whether it was the Zhong clan of Tai Ling or the Bingdi Lung clan, with the return of Zhong Yu and Leng Jing, great shocks occurred. After all, whether it is the 9 flower kings of bliss or the 3 North Sea fish kings, they are too important and precious to the Zhong family and the Lung family. However, when he heard Zhong Yu and Leng Jing say that those who asked for these things, there was a semi-holy person behind them in 9 out of 10, although the senior leaders of the 2 clans were reluctant, but they were forced to take out things due to the situation. On Zhong Yu's side, because many people testified, the Zhong clan also directly gave him things and asked him to send them there. On Leng Jing's side, because he was alone and no one testified, there were several elders from the Lung clan who bluntly said that in order to prevent Leng Jing from being robbed of things on the way, they also followed this time. In fact, Leng Jing knew in his heart that these clan elders were not worried that they would be robbed, but worried that they would lie to the sky and deceive the 3 Beiming Hanyu emperors. End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.